What's up, guys? It's Chris here to talk about this big WEC 48 Aldo versus Faber card going down this weekend. WEC's first time being on pay-per-view, prelims on Spike TV. You know, I've heard some fans say that they shouldn't be on pay-per-view because WEC is always on free versus, which is free. Honestly, if I wasn't attending the event, I'll be attending the event because it's here in Sacramento, my hometown. I would have no problem paying for it on pay-per-view. I think it's on paper, it's the best MMA card of the year thus far. Probably should be the best event of the year. I don't see anything beating it out on the horizon. But I'm curious hearing your guys' thoughts. You guys plan on ordering this pay-per-view? Because, regardless of it's WC, UFC, whatever, the fight card alone is well worth the money in my opinion. Anyways, moving on to the fights. First up on the undercard, you got Brandon Vischer against Tyler Toner. I don't know much about Toner. I thought Brandon Vischer looked great in his WC debut in his last fight. Looked vicious in TKO and Courtney Buck. I'm going to go with Vischer to win this fight by TKO. But I don't know much about Toner. I've heard good things, but gotta favor Vischer because what I have seen of him, he looked pretty beastly, I guess, for lack of a better word at the moment. Next up, you got Takeya Mizugaki against Hani Yaha. Hani Yaha being a great jiu-jitsu submission specialist, one of the best out there. But I don't think this style matchup favors him. Hani got hurt on the feet by Joseph Benavidez and got stopped by him, even if the stoppage was premature. I think Mizugaki's got more power than Joseph Benavidez. I think he's the bigger, stronger fighter in this matchup. If Hani can get the fight to the ground, obviously he's got a huge advantage there, but I don't know if he's going to be able to. I think Mizugaki's size and strength is going to give him problems, and I think Mizugaki's going to be able to win this fight by TKO. Chad Money Shot Mendez got Anthony Cheesesteak Morrison. Chad is a late replacement. He's filling in for Mac the Menace Schermizer. Sorry if I mispronounced his last name. But Chad hasn't had a lot of time to prepare for this fight. He fights out of Team Alpha Male, Uriah Faber's camp, but I do think that stylistically it favors him. He's a good wrestler. I just think he'll probably fall back on his wrestling for this and probably take Morrison down and control him there with the ground and pound and with positional control and earn a unanimous decision. Brad Pickett against Demetrius Johnson. Haven't seen Demetrius Johnson fight yet. But I listen to the Jordan Breen show on SureDog.com pretty much all the time. I've heard him say good things about Demetrius Johnson. So, I think Jordan Breen is a pretty knowledgeable guy in regards to mixed martial arts. I'm going to listen to what he said in this matchup, and I'm going to favor Demetrius Johnson to win this fight. Looking forward to seeing this kid fight, though. Sounds like he's a good prospect to keep an eye on. Anthony Pettis against Alex Karalexis is up next. Pettis had the big technical knockout win over Danny Castillo in the last WEC. Big kid, good striker. Alex Karalexis, little guy, striker. Probably going to be a stand-up fight while it lasts, but I think Pettis is just too big and too dynamic. I just think he's better than Karalexis at what Karalexis likes to do. So I see Anthony Pettis winning this fight by TKO first or second round. Leonard Bad Boy Garcia against Chan Sung Young, a.k.a. the Korean Zombie. Big fan of Leonard Garcia, always brings it, always entertaining fighter. Unfortunately, he just hasn't seemed to evolve much, just wings, punches. That's pretty much his whole game. Haven't seen Chan Sung Young fight, but I have heard things about him. I've heard positive things about him. Once again, most notably from Jordan Breen. So, as much as I like watching Leonard Garcia fight, I just don't think his game's evolved. And although I haven't seen Chan Sung Young fight just yet, I am going to pick him to win this fight by decision. Scott Jorgensen against Antonio Benuelos in a rematch. These guys fought 2 fights ago. Benuelos pulled out a split decision in a fight that I actually thought Jorgensen won. I'm going to favor Jorgensen to win the rematch here. Benuelos is a pretty good fighter, but I just think Jorgensen's better. He's got the better wrestling. He's the stronger guy. He seems to be improving his striking every time out. Definitely improving his submission games. He's scoring these wins with these modified guillotine chokes and whatnot. I just think he's got a higher ceiling than Antonio Benuelos. So I expect Jorgensen to win this rematch. Benuelos is a tough guy. He's a tough, sturdy, solid fighter. So I think it'll go to decision, but I think Jorgensen will win this fight and get the rightful decision this time out. Next up, you got Anthony Njokuani against Shane Roller. Intriguing matchup. Shane Roller, the better wrestler. Anthony Njokuani, much better on the feet. Both these guys have lost to Ben Henderson. Njokuani got out-wrestled by him. Roller got hurt by him and finished by TKO. I think Roller can take Njokuani down and then control him there for the most part. But I think Njokuani is the bigger guy. I think he'll be able to get up off his back. I think he'll be able to survive while on his back. And I think he's got a huge advantage on the feet. I think it's a huge mismatch while this fight is on the feet. And I think that's where Njokuani is going to take advantage of it and snatch up the victory. Although Shane can get him on the ground and work him over there, I think when the fight for the times it is on the feet, I think Njokuani's advantage is going to pay off. And I see him knocking out Shane Roller in this fight, or getting a technical knockout. Mike Brown against Manny Gamburyan. Pretty evenly matched up fight on paper. You know, both solid fighters. Pretty similar in stature. Manny Gamburyan having a good judo background. I'm interested in seeing this fight in the clinch who gets the better of it. You know, Gamburyan does got the judo background, but Mike Brown's got a solid wrestling base, and he's a big, strong guy for the weight. Thing is, I think Mike Brown is the more well-rounded fighter. I think he's got the better striking, and I just think his game's more well-rounded. And he may have a slight strength advantage. I don't know. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But I just think Mike Brown's a better fighter overall. Manny Gamburyan's tough, though. So I do think this fight making it to I do see this fight making it to a decision, but got to go with Mike Brown by a unanimous decision. Co-main event of the night, got lightweight champion Ben Henderson defending his title against Donald the Cowboy Cerrone in a rematch of what I thought was the best fight last year in mixed martial arts. Really looking forward to this fight. Actually, I thought Donald Cerrone earned the decision in the last fight. Obviously, Ben Henderson was awarded the decision, but I thought Donald pulled it out. Ben controlled the first 2 rounds of the fight with his wrestling, takedowns and stuff, but he kind of got fatigued in the third, and I thought Donald took over from there with his stand-up. And in the 5th round, he had Ben Henderson in some crazy submission holds. I don't know how Ben was able to survive, but credit to him for being able to do so. This fight, styles make fights. You know, I'm a big Donald Cowboy Cerrone fan. He's probably one of my favorite fighters out there. In full disclosure, you know, well-rounded fighter, great stand-up, good off his back with throwing up tons of submissions. Unfortunately, his wrestling game is his weakest part of his game probably, and doesn't have that good a takedown defense. And that's probably Ben Henderson's strongest part of his game is his wrestling, aside from his toughness. You know, I think Ben's going to be able to do more of the same of what he did in the first 2 rounds of their first fight, take Donald down and control it from there. Obviously, we've seen he can survive submissions or he can escape them. Ben's biggest problem in the first fight was he got tired midway through. He was dehydrated. I don't think it's going to be a problem here. He's had plenty of time to prepare for this fight. I think he's going to be in a much better condition. And ultimately, I see him winning a decision here. I don't think this fight will be as good as the first fight. Hard to keep match up with that fight, but I do think it will be a close competitive fight again. But I think Ben Henderson's going to win by decision. Main event. You got Jose Aldo, however you want to pronounce it, defending his recently acquired featherweight title against the California kid, Uriah Faber. Goes without saying that Uriah's going to have the hometown advantage here. You know, fighting out of his hometown. I expect the building to be close to sold out, if not sold out. But in all honesty, I don't see Uriah having too many other advantages in this fight. Jose looked great. He looked great in the WEC his entire tenure. But he looked very impressive in not stopping Mike Brown to win the title in his last fight. Uriah looked great. He looked good in his last fight as well, though. You know, getting a rear naked choke win over Rafael Assunção. The thing is, Uriah may have an edge in wrestling, but that's the only edge I see him having in this fight. You know, I think Jose Aldo's the naturally bigger guy. I think he's got a strength advantage. Speed and quickness, I don't know. Both these guys are pretty quick and fast. You know, I think that Jose Aldo's the better striker. He's more explosive with his strikes. He's just a more dynamic fighter. You know, Uriah, like I said, is probably the better wrestler. But as we saw in Jose Aldo's fight against Mike Brown, he's not easy to get down. You know, Mike Brown had him in the clinch plenty of times, had him against the cage, and he's a bigger, stronger fighter than Uriah Faber, and he couldn't get him down. So I don't know if Uriah's going to have any success doing so. End of the day, I just think it's a bad stylistic matchup for Uriah Faber. I just don't see any ways. I mean, he can win the fight. You know, he can catch him in a scramble and catch a submission, but I think Aldo's okay on the ground with a submission defense. Anyone could get hurt on the feet with a punch or a kick or, you know, knee, elbow, whatever it is, but I just don't see this matchup favoring Uriah in any way. So I'm going to go with Jose Aldo to win this fight by TKO. Late first, early second. Should be an exciting fight, though. Really looking forward to it. Want to hear your guys' thoughts. Who do you guys think is going to win this fight? Who do you think is going to win Cerrone, Henderson, and whatever, any of the other fights? Be sure and check out the website, thewillbebloodfightshow.com, leaveitinthering.com, my Twitter if you're interested, links and information part as always. I'll be doing a special all-MMA edition of the radio show on Friday. Supposed to have guests Ricardo Amerigan and Dean Thomas on to talk about their upcoming fight, coming off their press conference brawl from last week. hopefully also going to talk about some WC 48, maybe some fallout from last week's Strike Force. So be sure and check that out on Friday. That's it for now. I'll definitely be back on Sunday to give my thoughts on this event afterwards, since I'm attending. But until then, guys, I'm out of here.